Brooklyn, where Kyrie Irving has been suspended by the Nets at least 5 games after Kyrie refused to issue an apology for posting a link last week to an anti-Semitic piece on his Twitter feed. The Nets issued a statement Thursday afternoon that said, in part, Kyrie is, quote, currently unfit to be associated with the Brooklyn Nets. And then late last night, Kyrie released this statement in part on his official Instagram account saying, quote, I want to clarify any confusion on where I stand fighting against anti-Semitism by apologizing for posting the documentary without context and a factual explanation outlining the specific beliefs in the documentary I agreed with and disagreed with. I had no intentions to disrespect any Jewish cultural history regarding the Holocaust or perpetuate any hate. I'm learning from this unfortunate event and hope we can find understanding between us all. And earlier today, Kevin Durant was asked about the Kyrie situation and said this.
I ain't here to judge nobody or talk down on nobody for how they feel, their views, anything. I just didn't like anything that went on. I felt like it was all unnecessary. I felt like we could have just kept playing basketball and kept quiet as an organization. I just don't like none of it.
Adrian Wojnarowski with me now. Woj, let me give you my take on this. Kyrie did a bad thing and a stupid thing. And for whatever his reasons, because he liked some parts of it, didn't like others, but he apologized. At first, he was reluctant to. I think that people are conflating this idea that that's an anti-Jewish sentiment with the idea that really he just doesn't like to be told what to do, right? And so we're conflating those things and bad Kyrie. But okay, he got suspended and he posted an apology. I'm Jewish, I accept the apology, turn the page, okay? We want to know where you're coming from. I don't have hate in my heart. Okay, great, turn the page. Then KD weighs in. And KD wishes that everyone, the organization, would have stayed quiet. KD, if I worked for an organization and a member of that organization posted or amplified on their social media a documentary where a grand wizard in the KKK was quoted, and the idea was that he had some wisdom about black people, not only would I be against that, but I would be very happy if my organization did not remain quiet about it, because they shouldn't. So it's like every time, and maybe it's our fault because we keep asking these guys questions, and on the Nets, Kyrie and now KD are putting their foot in their mouths. But that's my take, Woj. Why did the Nets decide to suspend Kyrie?
It took the Nets almost a week to get there, and largely because the Nets owner, Joe Tsai, instead of, going in a direction that I think his GM, Sean Marks, Commissioner Adam Silver, and almost everybody else wanted him to, I think especially after that Saturday night press conference with Kyrie Irving, he wanted to go down the road of working with the Defamation League to try to educate Kyrie Irving, to instead of asking him to give an apology that he may not be based in real
genuine
regret,
feeling,
regret, that to educate him on why this was so hurtful to people in the Jewish community and beyond, all of those things. And as the week went on and Kyrie Irving would not get there on, number one, an apology, and number two, a condemnation of the material that was in that film, twice in public, once in a joint statement with the Nets. And so it took, I think Joe Tsai was the last man standing for Kyrie Irving in this, and thought that there was a two-way communication, a two-way street to have with him that really never happened. And it wasn't until Kyrie Irving is suspended, and then he does in that Instagram post last night what he could have done at any point during the week and probably staved off a suspension.
Yeah, the optics are bad for Kyrie because it looks like that's the reason he's doing it, because he's getting hit with a suspension without pay. When in fact, as I said, it seems to me like Kyrie is just a stubborn guy who sometimes I'll be the coach, sometimes Nash. He does not like authority. He doesn't like to answer to it or to feel like he's being controlled in some way. And it's put him in a position now, his personality, that's making him look maybe worse than he really ought to in this situation, given that he has finally apologized. And I don't think his intention was to be anti-Jewish with the original post, although it's a horrible post. What are the chances this situation leads to a breakup of the team?
It certainly doesn't help continuity. It certainly doesn't help staying power in Brooklyn with this group. And there's certainly factors from the start of the season that have been working against, I think, building stability there. Even before the Kyrie Irving situation, the fact that Ben Simmons, now that he's out with a knee injury now, not on the trip, not playing this weekend, but Ben Simmons playing at well below his standard, and you see it reflected in a defense that's at the bottom of the league, a team that's lost 6 of 8 games to start. I think for this Nets team and for this group to work, Ben Simmons has to be a significant part of it. So you start with that, and that was a big factor, probably even more than Steve Nash, I think, for the Nets early on. And obviously, this goes as Kevin Durant, as he wants it to go, as he views his staying power in Brooklyn. And so even though Kyrie Irving is in the last year of his contract, I think the concern certainly in Brooklyn is how long does Kevin Durant hang in there with the losing, with the instability right now? Can they get Kyrie Irving back again? Can they get him productive? Can they get Ben Simmons playing at a higher level? Can this Nets team start winning? Because without any of that, you can imagine a scenario where Kevin Durant perhaps revisits his request from the summer at some point, although I don't believe that's a consideration right now for him.
And wanting to move away from controversy and calm the waters, they, of course, turn to Ime Udoka as the next coach, apparently. But, Woj, what is the status of the Celtics suspended coach right now?
Well, I think the last few days for Brooklyn, while they would have liked to really been invested in a coaching search, they have been fully invested in dealing with this Kyrie Irving situation. I think today allows them to start to get back to figuring out if they're going to go the rest of the way down the road with Ime Udoka. I know that they've continued to ask questions, to vet the circumstances around his suspension and essentially ouster in Boston. But I think for Brooklyn, that's a situation, a search, a candidacy with Ime Udoka that they can now start to turn their focus back to with Kyrie Irving suspended for at least these 5 games.
Udoka is a guy who messed up so bad in the Celtics in Boston behind the scenes. He's one of the best young coaches in the league, has experience and is available without draft compensation or anything. What a mess in Brooklyn. Coming up, Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs are big favorites against the Titans, but he knows what happened the last time they played.